So a couple of years ago, right around when I turned 30, I was dealing with 3 injuries at the same time. My right shoulder would hurt every time I pressed something. My left hip was hurting every single time I squatted, even if I was just squatting an empty barbell. And when I went for runs, my right calf would start becoming inflamed after just like 1 kilometer of running. And the upsetting thing was, personal training is my career, yet I could not fix my own injuries. So here's what I eventually figured out, and it's the whole point of the video. A good training program would not guarantee that you will never get injured. However, a great training program will tell you what to do when and if you do get injured. So let me go over with you guys the story of how I dealt with and eventually overcame these injuries. So the shoulder injury was first. It was right at the front of the shoulder, right around that bony part. It's called the acromion. Basically, any horizontal pressing, right, bench press, especially incline bench press, would light that area right up. I was warming up properly. And yet, it would get so bad that sometimes even if I was just walking down the street and my arm is like swinging naturally, just like that while I'm walking, even that would trigger the pain. Next was the hip pain. Basically, the bony part of my femur, called the greater trochanter. And it was annoying because during my day-to-day life, I wouldn't really feel it unless I palpate that area. But whenever I would go and start warming up for squats, even with just an empty barbell on my back, that pain would get triggered. Because of the hip pain, I'd have to spend 30 to 40 minutes just on warming up alone during my leg days. And I even do self-myofascial release between my sets so that I can get through my leg workout. And that's the thing about chronic injury. You can get so good at managing your pain that you forget what it's like to be pain-free. Then, most recently, I had my calf injury from running. So basically, I was training for a half marathon. It was my first half marathon. And so I slowly built up my mileage every single week. Right about 6 months in, that's when the injury kicked in. The outer portion of my calf, right where the calf kind of meets the hamstring, that part started feeling inflamed. I tried taking a week off and then started running again, and that same pain kicked in again. I went to physiotherapy, I went to registered massage therapy, I deloaded, I increased my calories. For my shoulder injury, I actually decided to go to Japan for 3 weeks and not do any training at all, just so I could let my body rest. I tried all of that, and honestly, all of that helped the pain a little, but it never completely went away. It just, the pain level kind of fluctuated up and down. And the biggest one that surprised me was when I decided to take that 3-week vacation, and I was getting a lot of sleep, I was eating a lot of calories, and I was getting a lot of steps in. And still, when I came back after vacation from the 3 weeks, the pain just came right back as if it never left me. So this experience taught me a lesson, which I constantly preach to my own clients now. And it's that resting is only the answer when your injury is an acute injury. But when it comes to chronic injuries, rest is not going to help that, because the mechanism of the injury came from some kind of maladaptive behavior in your lifestyle that slowly built damage over time until one day it broke and you got injured. And so to fix a chronic injury, it's not about taking 1, 2, or even a month off training. It's about identifying what kind of maladaptive behaviors led to that injury and correcting that. That's the way to fix chronic injuries. Pain is a check engine light. That light that comes on in your car, something's wrong, but you don't know exactly what's wrong. But until you take it to the mechanic to diagnose it, you don't know for sure. It's ambiguous. So when you feel that chronic pain next time, aka the check engine light goes on, don't just stop driving, because the next time you start driving again, that check engine light is just going to come on again. So how did I fix my injuries? Number 1, my shoulder pain that stopped me from bench pressing for almost a year, it was actually my bicep tendon. And so once I did a lot of self-myofascial release, stretching on my bicep, my shoulder pain finally started going away. But not only that, I also made an adjustment to my training. I'd have a whole day dedicated to shoulders and another whole day dedicated to arms. Now I combined those 2 workouts into one workout, shoulder plus arms. And that allowed the bicep portion of the training to have a little bit less volume, that finally made my shoulder pain go away for good. The hip pain that I had from just squatting an empty barbell, the fix for that was actually nothing to do with stretching or mobility. It was a matter of gear and exercise selection. And so for the gear, I finally caved and bought myself a pair of squat shoes, Olympic weightlifting shoes with an elevated heel. So combining that and changing my squat from a low bar squat to a high bar squat resulted my squat form becoming more upright, more knee quad dominant instead of hip. I had to rebuild my squat from scratch. I think I started with about 40% of my maximum, and slowly over a year and a half, I built my way back up. But now that I'm squatting the same weights as I was in the past, except I have no pain. And how did I fix the calf pain from the running? It turns out, and with the help of my physio, the problem wasn't actually my running. And it was simply that the muscles on my right calf and hamstring were smaller. And so in my gym training sessions, I'd add 3 sets of 15 to 20 reps of seated calf raises and seated leg curls. And within a month, I felt a significant difference in my calf's ability to tolerate running. And in about 3 months, the pain completely fixed itself. Do you guys see the theme of the video? Why I say pain is a check engine light? Because the fixes for the 3 injuries I had nothing to do with the source of the pain. So here's my advice to you. Next time you're dealing with chronic nagging pain, don't be depressed and discouraged and just feel like you'll never be able to train the same again. Reflect and assess your current routine. You got injured, was it because you're sleep deprived, you're dehydrated, maybe you're not taking your supplements properly, maybe your technique was wrong, maybe you don't have enough mobility or flexibility, or maybe it was a new exercise, you just jumped into it, and so your body is not used to the movement, and that's why it got injured. Let's say, for example, I was getting lower back pain from squatting, and then I decide that it's because my hip flexors are tight. So I do a hip flexor stretch, and then I go try another set of squats, and that reduces my back pain. Then guess what? That hip flexor stretch is going to be a key part of my warm-up routine. And so that's how I built my personal warm-up routine. It wasn't from a YouTube video of a fitness influencer saying this is the best warm-up routine. It was from trial and error, figuring out which stretches, which drills help reduce my pain, writing those down, and slowly building my warm-up routine to what it is today. And working as a personal trainer, I see these 3 mistakes commonly when working with clients, especially beginner clients. So the first mistake they make is not controlling their rhythm. It is very important that when you're performing the eccentric portion of the movement that you go slowly, because that's when the muscle is lengthening. And if you go too fast, then that tension is going to end up being picked up by your joints, tendons, and ligaments, and you don't want to injure that. Second mistake I commonly see in beginner clients is their inability to maintain thoracic extension during exercises. Every single exercise, and especially big compound movements such as the squat, bench press, and deadlift, require you to maintain a stiff upper back in order to maintain a neutral or extended thoracic spine. The inability to do that leads to compensation, which lead to pain and injury. And a third mistake I see, and I'm gonna bet that this is probably the mistake that most people make, including you watching this video right now. People treat their warm-up routine like it doesn't count. They don't take it seriously. A warm-up routine that is executed properly will be the best insurance you ever buy for your training longevity. Another interesting insight I found is that beginner clients and experienced clients, they both make mistakes, but they make 2 different types of mistakes. So beginner clients, they don't train hard enough, and also they don't warm up, and that works because they're not lifting that heavy. But then experienced clients, they train way too hard, then they injure themselves, then they start warming up a lot, but because they have the fear of re-injuring themselves, they end up spending way too much time warming up before their workout. I'm actually working with a client right now. He's a big, naturally strong guy. So one day he got a rotator cuff injury similar to my own, and became very discouraged and not motivated to train anymore because that pain just wouldn't go away. He's also a business owner like myself, and the stress of managing his multiple locations just compounds onto the stress, making it hard for his injury to fully recover. So how I'm helping him through this is we are taking a step back and really focusing on nailing his warm-up routine. Not only that, we are also exposing him to the same movements that caused the injury. And I know that seems counterintuitive because the bench press is what got him injured, but it is also rebuilding and strengthening the bench press that is going to get his shoulder to fully heal. Which brings me to a common fitness advice I hear all the time and that I completely disagree with. And it's that when somebody gets hurt through exercise, they should stop exercising, avoid weights, and just wait it out completely. For nagging chronic pain, avoiding exercise and weights like the plague is not the way to full recovery. You need to pair targeted, intentional warm-ups with progressive strength training and gradually exposing your injury to the movements that caused the injury in the first place in order to achieve full recovery. Now, I want to be clear about something, and it's that if your pain is severe, sharp, and you genuinely tried everything and it just hurts so much, then you need to get yourself checked out by a licensed professional. But if you're like the 98% of us who we've just kind of learned to deal with chronic pain, then I want to go ahead and tell you that it would do you a lot of good if you reassessed the way you train, the way you live. Start re-exposing yourself to the activities that you've been avoiding this whole time. I really think it'll do you good. So here's where I landed. Most people think injuries happen naturally as part of the aging process. They usually don't. Injuries happen because of seemingly minute maladaptive behaviors that are repeated for years until something finally gives. And I hear the other version of this constantly. It's usually by clients in their 40s or older. They'll say something like, I just got a bad back, my knees are shot, it is the way it is. It's not. That's just a story about your body, not a fact. But here's the part I want you guys to take away. And it's that every part of my routine, from the 4-day split, elevated shoes, to the high bar squat, bicep release for my shoulder, the slower runs, every part of that came from learning a lesson from an injury. Because if you never got hurt, you'd never change anything. You'd still be running someone else's routine that you copy from the internet. So stop treating your pain like a burden. It's just a check engine light. Something's wrong. Don't just sit on your ass and blame it on aging. Go and find out what's wrong, then apply the necessary changes to your routine and do something about it. Anyways, that's it for the video. Thanks for sticking around to the end. Hope you guys got some value out of it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.